Chapter 81 Invincible Mode. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Qin Yuan entered a fancy restaurant which was now empty as the customers had gone out. He sat by the window facing the street directly so he could see the scenery outside without using any force at all. A maid came, asked what he wanted to order, and he ordered all the dishes in the restaurant. Jian Yixue was still standing. She didn't sit down even though there were a few chairs at the table. This situation made Qin Yuan remember the scene where she was crying earlier. His gaze on her seemed to annoy her a bit. She said, "What?" Qin Yuan had no plans to bully her anymore. He patted the chair beside him and replied, "Why are you still standing? Sit here." Jian Yixue looked at the chair he was patting on. It was right next to Qin Yuan, so it was a bit strange for her to sit there. In the end, she stepped onto the seat opposite Qin Yuan. After sitting down, she looked out the window and looked thoughtful. From the seat, Qin Yuan could see the side of her face. Her hair was left straight down, but the side she put behind her ears, leaving only a few strands of hair on her cheeks. Seeing her from the side like that allowed him to see her full beauty. The shape of her face is the thing that excels her the most. It was an inverted triangular face without the slightest gap because there was no excess fat on the face. Whether she was being cold or arrogant, Qin Yuan didn't feel there was any kind of mismatch with that face. Anyone who saw her would think that's how she should be. And this is what makes attitudes that should be hated to be liked. Phew. He sighed, averting his gaze from her as it might bother her. His attention then turned to his heart space, to be more precise to the third fragment that he had yet to examine. He wanted to know what kind of technique was in the fragment. "System, let me read it," he said to System. Ding, order accepted. 40,000 karma points used to read a heavenly scripture fragment. Karma points. 12,900. After the notification, Qin Yuan directly read the words that appeared on the fragment. Invincible mode. This is a technique that can basically awaken the hidden power in the user. It is said that everyone has a hidden power that actually has no limits. When using this technique, you can increase your strength drastically and without limit. The limit is set by yourself, perhaps at the point where your body, soul, and heart can't take it anymore. Of course, this has side effects. You might fall to your weakest state after using it within the limits of your body, soul, and heart. If it is more than that limit, you will get more severe side effects. This is actually something better because some forbidden techniques and pills can cause paralysis and disability just by using them a little and death if you are unlucky. And what's great about this technique is that it's not that difficult to learn. Everyone who has this technique can master it because this technique basically relies on the ability of the user himself. When this technique appeared in Qin Yuan's head, he had already begun to master it by relying on his extraordinary comprehension ability as an eternal saint ancestor. Even so, he still ordered the system to help him because he wanted to master it perfectly. Ding, order accepted. 100 points of karma are used to comprehend the invincible mode technique. Karma points. 12,800. This is important because it can save in certain situations, Qin Yuan thought after mastering it. He had not been able to think of how strong he would become when using it according to the portion of his body, soul, and heart. But he thought he might be able to be on par with him if he had 5 or more divinities. Indeed, none of the techniques derived from fragments are disappointing. He then glanced at Jian Yixue, thinking of sharing this technique with her. In his opinion, this was quite suitable for her, and perhaps the limits of her body, soul, and heart were far greater than the average of people of the same strength as her. But now wasn't the right time to talk because a group of maids with trays came. "Please, ladies and gentlemen," said the leader of the maids in a soft voice. She couldn't help but occasionally glance at Qin Yuan and Jian Yixue. If Qin Yuan fascinated her, Jian Yixue seemed to amaze her. Even sitting together with such an extraordinary man, she still displayed an aloof demeanor, which was very cool in her eyes. Too bad she couldn't be there for too long. When they left, Qin Yuan took a cup filled with mango juice with gold-colored ice cubes. He drank it and couldn't help but sigh at the taste of the juice. After that, he took out a knife and fork. Looking at Jian Yixue who was still staring at the window, he said, "Miss, eat first, I'll give you something good after this." He was actually a bit curious how she ate because he had never seen her eat other than when she ate an apple in the city park a few days ago. Something good from his mouth definitely caught her eye, however, not much anything good with his level. She looked at him and finally looked at the dish on the table. But then, she stared at the window again. "I can't eat these foods," she said, leaving Qin Yuan confused. "Miss, are you saying none of these dishes will suit your taste buds?" Qin Yuan asked with a strange look. "There are various types of dishes. If she couldn't eat a few of them, it wouldn't be strange, but all of them. I only eat pure fruit and drink water," she answered without a tone at all. It was quite a shock to Qin Yuan. He looked at the food and drink on the table. Even though the drinks were fruit juices, they seemed to have been mixed with some additives like milk and honey. Qin Yuan knocked on the table. He did not have a habit of questioning or criticizing other people's tastes. In the end, he took out a fruit similar to the mango he had picked up from the heavenly palace. It's the kind that has little spirituality, only pure essences can increase talent, so it's suitable for people with low cultivation bases. Try this, it's from the heavenly palace. He then placed the fruit in front of Jian Yixue who was looking back at him. Heavenly Palace's words clearly filled her with curiosity as she stared at the fruit. After several times looking back and forth at him and the fruit, she finally picked it up. However, instead of taking out a knife to peel the fruit, she suddenly stored it into her storage ring. "Why don't you eat it, Mississippi?" Qin Yuan asked in confusion. "I'll eat it later," she replied. Qin Yuan smiled wryly, wondering if she was now embarrassed to eat in front of him. In the end, he ate himself. "So, what good thing do you want to give?" "I'm sure it's not the fruit," Jian Yixue asked after he finished. Qin Yuan didn't answer right away, he stood up and said, "Follow me." It was an immortal technique in the end, he couldn't transfer it to someone else carelessly. This time, he brought Jian Yixue to the hidden heaven. The young woman couldn't help but look around with knitted brows as she arrived there. The energy dome below astonished her. Although she already knew that Qin Yuan had taken over the hidden heaven, she had no idea what happened inside after Qin Yuan entered. "Look." Qin Yuan then pointed his index finger at her. A mysterious aura radiated above that finger and it then flew into Jian Yixue's head. The latter was silent, she let it enter her head. Right after that, her face froze and her eyes closed. "Oh, looks like it will take her some time to digest it," said Qin Yuan. After all, it was an immortal technique. It contained a lot of information, it was at least a stage 10 expert like him to digest that information in a short amount of time. "What is it? Is it an immortal technique?" Hey Ho's voice suddenly echoed below. Looking down, Qin Yuan said, "Considering your reaction, you shouldn't be an immortal, right?" Qin Yuan didn't think he was an immortal in the first place, but he still had some worries. "Humph, how many immortals do you think there are in this vast universe?" Hey Ho snorted coldly at his words. "However, if I had my peak strength, a few dozen moves would be enough to kill you," he added. Chapter 82 Return to the Origin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. "Hoo, I hope you have enough strength when I get stronger so we can fight," Qin Yuan replied. "Actually, I'm also interested in recruiting you into my sect, what do you think?" he asked. "Huh, you think you're worthy? Do you know how strong my master, the King of Hell is? Only death awaits you when he returns," replied Hey Ho. "I'm sure it's not that easy or he would have come personally instead of you." Qin Yuan did not show any concern. After that, he stuffed Jian Yixue into his space artifact. He couldn't stay there any longer, leaving her there was obviously dangerous. Hey Ho would probably have gone upstairs if he wasn't around. Even though he could keep an eye on the place at all times, he could be too late to move. The process of transferring the immortal technique was already complete, so there was no problem no matter where Jian Yixue was. Returning to the divine continent, Qin Yuan traveled from place to place, seeing different sights and different kinds of people. After a few days, some of the experts who came also started to return again. The situation on the divine continent quickly calmed down again. At most, there were only the younger generations of the major factions doing various things, but because of their weak strength, no storms could occur. Almost a month later, Jian Yixue is still not done. Qin Yuan thought she might need some more time. He couldn't predict unless he checked her head. As for the meeting in the hidden heaven, Qin Yuan chose to postpone it. There wasn't also anything worth discussing with those guys considering the level. Right now they were also quite busy collecting back the items from the hell that they had scattered. On a certain day, two female figures appeared on the divine continent. They came without releasing any aura but also didn't hide their existence, so many people sensed their arrival. With the cultivation of the Divine Emperor 8th stage, the aura of their existence was enough to penetrate the various corners of the divine continent. Twin Goddess of Night, said several ancestors who could see their figures. Why did they come? The last time they came was while supporting Qin Jian. But that man just robbed the sixth divinity, so obviously they came with another purpose. Look where they're staring. People look into their eyes. Since arriving, they still didn't look around, only continued to stare at the sky. Do they want to? Many people's breath stopped when they thought that. A divine emperor breaking through from the 8th stage to the 9th stage was enough to stir up the entire divine world. After all, there weren't many 9th stage divine emperors in that vast world. I don't think they will succeed. How is it so easy to rob the 9th divinity? One of the ancestors snorted. Even though their backgrounds are very strong, that doesn't mean they don't have enemies or people who don't like them. Eternal Star Ancestor will definitely come, or he might already be here, added another. The two goddesses then stepped onto the land below. They disappeared until no trace of them could be found, making people even more convinced that the Eternal Star Ancestor was indeed there. Qin Yuan was currently standing beside a lake when his daughter and disciple came. They were no different than usual, wearing black dresses that displayed modesty and elegance. Father, we will start now, Qin Wuxin said factly. But Qin Yuan responded by raising his hand, telling them to wait. Actually, based on his own analysis, it was unlikely that they would succeed. Therefore, he wanted to share the invincible mode technique with them. With that, their guarantee of success would probably be over 70%. Click. He snapped his fingers. A portal to the hidden heaven appeared by his side, confusing the two women as they didn't sense his existence even when they saw him. Come in. Qin Yuan entered the portal first. They followed without showing any hesitation. Why did you come back again? He Ho's voice resounded right after he entered, startling Qin Wuxin and Yi Shui. They looked down, and although they did not find the figure who spoke, they were still shocked to see the various corpses under the energy dome. Father, what exactly is this place? Qin Wuxin immediately asked Qin Yuan while Yi Shui looked at him with knitted brows. This is the hidden heaven, one of the 9 heavenly treasures, Qin Yuan replied with a relaxed expression. Hidden heaven. Qin Wuxin and Yi Shui opened their mouths simultaneously in surprise. Well, you two are rarely around, so there's a lot I can't tell you. Qin Yuan then sent a drop of spiritual energy into each of their heads so that they got information about the things he possessed. It made his daughter look at him strangely as if she couldn't believe it was him. Father, how did you get all this? She asked subconsciously. Why Mississippi? You doubt your father's abilities. Qin Yuan smiled faintly and then stretched out his hand to pinch her cheek, making her jump in shock. What are you doing? It might have been a common thing when she was young, but now she was the goddess of Dark Star. People, especially fellow women at her level, would probably laugh at her if they saw her father pinch her cheeks. Haha. Yi Shui laughed softly. There's still something I want to give you too, Qin Yuan continued. Whoosh. Whoosh. He then did the same as he did Jian Yixue to them. Their eyes also closed after that, but it was only about 10 minutes before they opened their eyes again. Is this really an immortal technique? Asked them at the same time. Qin Yuan nodded. How many days will it take you two to master it? I'm sure it won't take even a week, Yi Shui replied. Qin Wuxin seemed to agree. Alright, you girls first cultivate for 1 week and another week to adapt, Qin Yuan said. He opened a portal to his space artifact, but it was different from the spatial artifact that Jian Yixue had entered. It's not safe here, come in here. The two women nodded before stepping into the portal. Right after they disappeared, He Ho spoke again. That woman from the Devil clan, is she your disciple? Why do you ask that? Qin Yuan asked back. He couldn't help but wonder if he knew anything about the Devil clan because he spoke the clan's name in a tone that seemed to be hiding something. Whether it was the Devil clan or the God clan, everyone knew that they were unique and mysterious. Their members are not many, but the talent of each one of them is truly extraordinary. Hoo, you shouldn't start any relationship with the Devil clan or God clan. In the end, they will return to the origin, He Ho replied. What do you mean? Qin Yuan was confused. We're enemies, I don't need to tell you, you'll find out for yourself in the future. Do you want to play with my mind? Qin Yuan sneered in response. Of course, it was just a pretense, his mind couldn't help but speculate. He purposely said that to provoke He Ho to say more. Too bad he didn't speak anymore. He finally snorted downwards, dropping one more giant star before returning to the divine continent. Now there is more discussion. But people couldn't help but be confused because the two goddesses didn't appear again even after a few days. On the other hand, Jian Yixue had finally finished, so Qin Yuan sent her out of his space artifact. I already comprehended, she said. Qin Yuan did not expect that she had also comprehended. With an interested expression, he said, try to show it to me. When he said that, he waved his hand, creating an energy dome that covered the area around them so that no one could see or feel Jian Yixue's presence when she released her power. All right. Jian Yixue replied. Bang! A shockwave erupted from Jian Yixue's body before an extremely sharp aura radiated from it, and it continued to increase with time. Gold lines appeared on her right hand and black lines appeared on her left hand. On her forehead, then appeared a red sword tattoo that seemed to be made of blood while her eyes radiated extreme killing intent. What's this? Qin Yuan knew that the lines were the result of the golden water and the hell snake poison, but the red sword was something he didn't know. Besides, why were her eyes emitting killing intent? At this moment, Jian Yixue's innate sword appeared in her right hand. And after that, Qin Yuan saw a faint red sword similar to the tattoo on her forehead appear on her left hand. The red sword was like a manifestation, but its aura was somehow no less than that innate sword. Chapter 83 Meet the Goddess of Darkness again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Miss, are you all right? Qin Yuan asked while looking into her eyes. Over time, the killing intent in her eyes only grew more and more, not diminishing at all. I'm fine. She answered, but in a very cold tone. Qin Yuan knitted his brows again while his eyes continued to stare at the red sword tattoo. Is this some kind of manifestation of past hatred and pain that eventually became her latent power? Miss, try attacking me, let's see how strong you are now, Qin Yuan said after some thought. Whoosh! Jian Yixue immediately moved without giving any warning. She then slashed the two swords in her hands towards Qin Yuan. As she slashed her innate sword, she slashed its black side at Qin Yuan but ended up flipping it over to its golden side. Qin Yuan smiled faintly, thinking that she still knew who was enemy and who was friend. But this also confirms one thing: her mind was not completely under her control. In response, he used each of his wrists to parry each of the swords. Clang! They collide. The golden side of the innate sword emitted a golden light that enveloped Qin Yuan's hand. It seemed to be trying to find the evil things in his hand. In reality, there are always evil things in everyone, and when they are purified by holy power, there are always side effects that can even kill. Unfortunately, it was not strong enough to purify Qin Yuan's evil things. Qin Yuan's attention then turned to the red sword. Even though it was only a spiritual manifestation, its light and aura were truly extremely piercing. They radiated extreme killing intent, striking straight at the heart and soul. Even Qin Yuan faintly felt some kind of illusion trying to affect his mind. This increases Jian Yishue's strength but on the other hand weakens the enemy's strength. What if Jian Yishue fought a first-stage Saint Ancestor? Her strength may still not be on par with a Saint Ancestor, but she can weaken him to her equal. Qin Yuan then looked at her forehead again. Perhaps in the future she can use it without having to rely on invincibility mode. At that time, I'm afraid she will become completely invincible. Shua! He pushed his hand forward, sending Yishue flying backwards. But after landing, she lunged at Qin Yuan once again. Enough! Qin Yuan said as he waved his hand, causing her steps to stop instantly. Her aura immediately dropped drastically to the point that it was as if she was only a mortal. After that, her knees suddenly fell. It seems that using it for a while also has the same effect, Qin Yuan said with a sigh. Indeed, there is always a price for gaining power that exceeds your own. Qin Yuan appeared by Jian Yishue's side, grabbing her waist directly, something that shocked her, but there was nothing she could do as she almost lost control of her body. Even when she wanted to grip his clothes with her fingers, she failed to do so. Even so, she was still able to move her mouth a little. Give me an energy pill, she said in a trembling voice. No need, it's time for you to rest, Qin Yuan replied, tapping her stomach with his fingers before laying her body down. Right after that, her eyes started to close. Her eyelashes moved a few times and finally her breath became soft. Poor girl, said Qin Yuan as he shook his head as he watched her fast asleep. The days passed quietly. Jian Yishue had apparently slept for quite a while, almost 2 weeks had passed and she still hadn't woken up. Today, the divine continent was made tense when suddenly boundless darkness appeared in the sky. The ruthless and gloomy aura of the darkness frightened many people including the ancestors. They didn't even dare to chat openly, only daring to whisper to the person beside them. The goddess of darkness, why is she here? Does she want to watch the twin goddess of the night? They wonder. Maybe because they also use the power of darkness, maybe they have a certain relationship with her. Oh, I hope she doesn't do bad things here. Qin Yuan, who was watching from afar, couldn't help but knit his brows. He was also confused as to why she had come and he had no memory of his disciple and daughter having a certain relationship with this goddess. No one could see her figure because of the darkness except for Qin Yuan. She was still in the same style, sitting leisurely on the throne with an attitude as if all beings were worshipping her. Her gaze quickly fell on Qin Yuan. For a moment, her brows moved as she looked at Qin Yuan's face. She straightened her posture while her face seemed to move forward slightly as if she wanted to take a closer look at Qin Yuan. After a while, she stood up before stepping towards him. Shoo! She immediately appeared in front of him. The darkness in the sky disappeared right after that. Without the darkness around her, her figure seemed much clearer. She was the same height as Su Mei and her long legs looked very sexy with the red lines. The pungent scent of jasmine emanated from her body, telling people she was dangerous. In Qin Yuan's hometown on Earth, people often associate this scent with female ghosts. And he thinks she fits in well with it. Eternal star, once again you look very different from before, she said, looking at him from head to toe with her red eyes. Hearing her words, Qin Yuan couldn't help but wonder what she was thinking now after seeing his face. Goddess of darkness, did something bring you here? He asked softly. He thought now would be a good time to ask for her help, so he maintained some politeness as he spoke. With this situation, even if the Seven-Path Great Emperor saw them in person, he most likely only thought they met by chance and had no particular intention. It would be different if he personally visited her to her place. The goddess of darkness didn't answer right away. Her gaze was drawn to Jian Yixue, who was lying by Qin Yuan's side. Ho ho, such a dense gloomy aura, she must be a perfect match for my dark power, she said. Is she your disciple, Eternal Star? No, we don't have that relationship, but she is my sect's supreme disciple, Qin Yuan replied. Why don't you make her your disciple? I heard you just accepted a new disciple. The goddess of darkness showed a strange expression. Qin Yuan shrugged his shoulders in response. It doesn't have to be, does it? But I'm surprised you know I accepted a new disciple. Did you pay attention to the news about me? Yeah, I'm really curious about you, so I follow every news about you, she replied casually while the corners of her lips lifted slightly. Her red eyes even emitted light for a moment. It was enough to make Qin Yuan stunned. He thought that even a widow like the Sky Butterfly Queen would not say that openly before they had a clear relationship. Now he felt even more certain that this woman had a hidden desire for him. Every goddess has pride, there's no way they'd fall in love just by seeing a man so handsome unless something went wrong with their minds. Given the personality of the goddess of darkness, it wouldn't be surprising if she fell into that rare category. Goddess, you still haven't said your goal. Qin Yuan returned to the original topic. The goddess of darkness replied, would you believe me if I said that I just wanted to watch? That's hard to believe, after all, you have 10 divinities, your experience is enough to consider 8 or 9 divinities unattractive, Qin Yuan replied. Yeah, but sometimes we still need to see young people struggle, the goddess of darkness replied, glancing up at the sky before looking at him again. Or did she just want to visit me? Qin Yuan couldn't help but think like that after hearing her answer. Of course, he didn't really believe her words. He still thought she had a certain goal. At this moment, Jian Yixue's eyelashes moved. Little by little, her eyes began to open. She immediately sat up and held her head as if she felt pain. After a few blinks, she looked at Qin Yuan and the goddess of darkness who was not far from Qin Yuan. Her confusion because she had just woken up instantly disappeared when she saw the figure of the goddess of darkness. The latter, on the other hand, stared at her with a curved mouth. She said, "What's wrong, little girl? Are you scared?" As she spoke, a black-robed skeleton figure surrounded by darkness appeared at her side, staring at Jian Yixue with an ugly grin and bulging eyes, trying to scare her. Chapter 84 A Hand and Spear. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Die. Jian Yixue took out her innate sword and slashed the golden side of the sword at the skull. Oh! The goddess of darkness was taken aback by her sudden action. Clang! The skull parried Jian Yixue's sword with its hand. It wasn't pushed back even an inch, as if it was just holding back a falling branch. Blah! The skull revealed an even uglier smile, making anyone who saw it want to slap it to death. That won't work, Qin Yuan said as he grabbed Jian Yixue's hand and pulled her to his side. The thing is, it is one of the strongest of the goddess of darkness army. Jian Yixue needed the power of a high-level divine emperor to destroy it. The young lady didn't push after being stopped by Qin Yuan, she just stared intently at the skull before looking the other way. Right after that, Qin Yuan finally received a message from his disciple and daughter. They're done and ready to move. He then took them out of the space artifacts. The first figure they saw was the goddess of darkness, so they were immediately taken aback. They couldn't help but stare at Qin Yuan in confusion. There was worry on their faces as they recalled Qin Yuan's conflict with the goddess before he entered the heavenly palace. But they also cupped their fists on the goddess of darkness. "Greetings, Your Excellency," they said, trying to remain calm. "What's with your faces?" "I didn't come to disturb you," said the goddess of darkness. "Don't worry, you girls can do it now," Qin Yuan added. Although he was still unsure what the goddess of darkness would do, he had the confidence to stop her. The immortal devouring technique would probably be a fatal blow to her. The two women no longer showed any concern. They stared at Jian Yixue for a while. Without saying anything, they stepped into the sky, causing the aura on the divine continent to tense up. "They've finally made their move," the ancestors said as they saw the two black-dressed figures in the sky. Qin Wuxin went west while Yixue went east. Each of them chose the divinity at the end of the continent. With their identity and power, no one would object to them taking any divinity they wanted. Even the God clan would be silent. However, among the 10 divinities they had, they could only take 7 or 8. They were considered very lucky if they could take 9 divinities. The case was different from Qin Yuan's before because he was undercover. He didn't want to attract the attention of the God clan and naturally wouldn't mess with his own clan, so he chose the Lightning Valley's divinities. People also wouldn't speculate more since he chose the weakest as his target. Bang! Bang! The two women released their power. 8 dark stars leapt out from Qin Wuxin's body, each releasing a boundless aura, turning the sky black as they surrounded her. On the other hand, there were 8 grains of black snow behind Yixue. They were small but their presence made a lot of snow fall from the sky, leaving the people below cold. Rumble. Their actions instantly garnered a response from the sky. A loud rumble resounded before a sea of lightning appeared above each and every one of them. "Do it quickly and use all your strength." Qin Yuan spoke directly to their minds as he looked at the 2 seas of lightning. His gaze was occasionally more focused on Yixue. The things He Ho said made him couldn't help but be curious about her. Yixue and Qin Wuxin nodded after hearing his words. Right after that, an even stronger pressure radiated from their bodies. People weren't surprised at first, thinking that they were just using some external help to strengthen themselves. But the pressure they exuded didn't stop even after it reached the limits one would expect. "This is weird." Some people started talking. "No, look over there." Suddenly someone pointed at the stars behind Qin Wuxin. Some people saw nothing at first, but then, they faintly saw a new star appear among the stars. The new star was somewhat transparent but it was also emitting a terrifying aura. What exactly happened? What technique is this? People's gazes then turned to Yixue, trying to see if there was any extra snow between the snows. Qin Yuan also did the same. But strangely, that didn't happen to Yixue even though the aura she was emitting continued to increase. Wuxin is from the Star clan, so a divinity-like star appearing isn't unusual, Qin Yuan thought. With his heavenly eyes, he knew that the star was not divinity, but the star power buried deep within her bloodline. The power came out, trying to imitate divinity to give it power. If she only used other external aids, it would not reach the point of exiting her body. Actually it couldn't be considered unique when compared to Jian Yixue's red sword that came because of her past experience. Then what about Yixue? Maybe I can see the true strength of the Devil Clan. While Qin Yuan was thinking, a strangeness finally appeared behind Yixue. A mysterious dark aura suddenly came out of nowhere, it seemed to come from a different time-space. Like a cloud in the wind, the dark aura was a bit messy for a while. But little by little, it started to form something. The first was a hand of pale complexion. Then, an almost invisible spear appeared. The hand grabbed the spear and pointed it towards the sky. What is this? Is this a special technique of the Devil Clan? People started to give new speculations when they saw the hand and the spear. They didn't emit an exaggerated aura, only Yishue's aura continued to increase. However, their presence somehow made the atmosphere seem different. It was as if there was an existence that surpassed the world coming to the continent. Chapter 85. The Goal. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Is this some kind of ancestor's blessing? Qin Yuan could not speculate too much as these things were also beyond his knowledge. Bang! Bang! One by one, lightning bolts in the shape of assorted beasts charged towards Qin Wuxin and Yi Shui, making both of them look serious. But even in such a situation, they still jumped up without hesitation, facing the lightning bolts. Whoosh! Whoosh! Their strength continued to soar. Each of them attacked the lightning bolts with their strength. Qin Wuxin blasted them with her stars while Yi Shui froze them. In just a few moments, they passed through the lightning bolts and arrived in front of the vortex they were aiming for. Their slender hands then entered the vortex. Several lightning bolts struck their hands, inflicting small wounds little by little. The people watching couldn't help but tense up because now they were in a fateful situation. They knew that the small wounds inflicted by the heaven strikes were as painful as having their necks cut. Luckily, the two women were able to move quickly due to their increased strength. Moments later, people began to feel the aura of divinity flowing in their hands, a sign that they had already grasped the divinity within the vortex. Quickly, they began to withdraw their hands. Looks like they will succeed, said the ancestors. This is so miraculous, can they do it again to rob the 10th divinity? It's not easy, but it's still possible if they really reach the limit of the 9th stage. Of course, the heaven strike at that time would be extremely fierce. Even if their strength increases drastically, I'm afraid they will still be unable to withstand it. All who tried it were dead even though they were full of all kinds of preparations. That's why no one has the confidence to do it. Some people said that strength alone was not enough to pass the heaven strike when robbing the 10th divinity. This is faster than normal robbery, said the goddess of darkness who was near Qin Yuan. She looked at the latter with a deep gaze. Sorry goddess, the limit of this technique is only the 8th stage, Qin Yuan said. He could guess her thoughts just by looking at her gaze. Of course, saying that meant he could rid himself of the troubles to come. After today's news spread, there would probably be some people who would come to him to request the technique. Hearing his words, the goddess of darkness' lips twitched for a moment. By the way goddess, there's something I need your help with. What? The goddess of darkness asked with her chin slightly raised. It seemed what he said earlier displeased her. I want to ask first, if the divine world is in danger, are you ready to fight for this world? Qin Yuan answered with a question. He deliberately spoke slowly to interest the goddess of darkness. Actually, he wasn't planning on saying it now either because it was too important. If it leaks, his plan could fall apart. Therefore, he would only notify the people involved when the plan actually started. And as he expected, the woman looked at him with an interested expression. That's not the right question for me. But well, when your world is threatened, it's not about whether you want to or not anymore. I might be forced to fight to save my life, she replied. It's not about whether you want to or not anymore. You're right, we will be forced to fight to save our lives. Qin Yuan nodded in agreement with her words. So what help do you need? She asked. We'll discuss it later, when everyone gathers, Qin Yuan replied. Huh, you really intend to keep secrets? The goddess of darkness snorted, looking displeased that he still didn't say it after speaking at length. Roar! Roar! Two loud roars resounded in the sky as Qin Wuxin and Yi Shui finally managed to draw divinity from within the vortex. But at the same time, two gigantic lightning tigers appeared, each opening its mouth to swallow them. With divinity in hand, the two women had no intention of fighting back. They turned around before flying away while inserting the divinity they had acquired into their chests. Bang! Bang! In the instant after, their auras surged drastically to the point of causing the continent to tremble. Unfortunately, it was only for a brief moment. Their mighty auras suddenly decreased very rapidly as if their cultivation had been shattered. Ding, you successfully helped your daughter and disciple rob the ninth divinity. You gained 10,000 karma points and 2,500 charm points. Karma points. 22,800, charm points. 38,280. Qin Yuan had almost forgotten about the mission because it appeared on his first day in this world. The rewards he received satisfied him even though the charm points awarded by the system were reduced to half. Well. He then stretched out his hand to the sky, grabbing his daughter and disciple who were about to pass out. After that, he stuffed them into his space artifacts. Phew. He sighed and said, it's finally done. Only, he couldn't help but stare at the goddess of darkness because he felt a sharp gaze from her. He even felt as if there were thousands of laser beams from her red eyes aimed at his face. With her eyes in such close range, she must have noticed how his charm had increased. What is it, goddess? He asked, winking once. The woman didn't answer, but suddenly took one step forward so that she was closer to him. After pausing for a while, she took one more step. 2. 3. 4. Finally, she was only 2 steps away from Qin Yuan. Jian Yixue, who was standing not far away, couldn't help but knit her brows as she looked at the goddess of darkness. Qin Yuan naturally felt confused. With that distance, he could even faintly feel the warm air from her breath. Too bad she was wearing a long necked dress, so the cleavage of her breasts wasn't visible. Otherwise, just looking at the cleavage of her breasts must be very satisfying at that distance considering how charming their shape looks even when they are covered. I know you're still speculating, said the goddess of darkness. But I'm telling the truth, I came here just to watch something unique from you, and now it's pretty self-explanatory. Chapter 86 The Desire of the Goddess of Darkness. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What's so strange? Everyone has something unique, Qin Yuan replied. You know, there's not much that can be called unique at our level. The goddess of darkness' gaze became deeper, so Qin Yuan felt uncomfortable. Every time she exhaled, the scent of jasmine from her became sharper and instantly flowed into Qin Yuan's nose. And what's wrong if I have a more unique quirk? Qin Yuan asked. It's not wrong, but you make me want you, she replied. The soles of her feet that were wearing a pair of high heels moved slightly, looking like they wanted to take another step forward. Qin Yuan did not expect the goddess of darkness to say that. As expected, this one woman was indeed an abnormality among the supreme goddesses. He couldn't help but think of the kind of response he would give. Even though he wanted it too, this was a bit too sudden. Before he could give a response, she suddenly spoke again. Shall we find a room? Qin Yuan, Jian Yixue, This time Qin Yuan's face froze. He took a deep breath and pretended to be confused before replying, Goddess, what do you mean? Come on, you're not an inexperienced man, this is a great opportunity for you, to be the first man to be able to do it with a supreme goddess, she replied calmly while her lips curled slightly so they looked sexier. Are you even still worthy of being called a goddess? Qin Yuan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. But what she said made him couldn't help but stare at her figure in that tight dress. Her waist is slender, her legs are long, and her butt is charming. The occasional gust of wind opened the slit of her dress higher so that her white thighs were visible for a moment. It invites curiosity in anyone who sees them. She was vicious as a woman, but her appearance was incomparably beautiful. One couldn't help but wonder how she was in bed. Why are you still silent? She asked again. Qin Yuan finally cleared his throat softly as he glanced at her erratically moving fingers. Goddess, I believe you just ate something wrong, maybe you need to rest and clear your mind, he said. After thinking about it, Qin Yuan finally chose to restrain himself first. That didn't mean he turned down her invitation, but he thought he needed a more appropriate situation. Pretending to remain calm, he then turned around. "Let's go back," he said to Jian Yishue. The latter glanced at the goddess of darkness before following him into the air. But even after passing through several mountains, Qin Yuan could still feel the goddess of darkness gaze on his back. Then, he heard her voice enter his head. "When are you ready?" She turned out to ask, making Qin Yuan flinch. "Don't pretend, I know you want to and you don't have any moral limits that you should refuse." "Goddess, what makes you have such a desire? Is it just because of my appearance?" Qin Yuan couldn't help but ask. "Yes. Your appearance makes me feel desire again, I don't want to miss this opportunity to feel pleasure. Of course, you will also feel boundless pleasure while doing it with me. You seem very experienced. It was so long ago, I can hardly remember anymore." Ding, system has confirmed that the goddess of darkness is no longer a virgin. The reward you will get if you win her heart is reduced by 20%. You will only get 64,000 karma points and 16,000 charm points. The charm points you get are reduced because your charm points have exceeded 30,000. System, will I get a reward right away if I make love to the goddess of darkness? Qin Yuan asked after seeing the notice. Yes, when a woman doesn't mind making love to you, you can be considered as winning her heart. Eternal Star, what is your answer? The goddess of darkness asked again. Qin Yuan took a deep breath, glanced back before replying, "Wait until our next meeting. You better prepare yourself. Heh, you finally showed your true face." The goddess of darkness said sarcastically. "You want it first, I'm not a man if I'm afraid." "Humph, you hypocrite. But I'm really looking forward to that day. So where is our next meeting?" "Dawn Continent, I will start the plan at the opening of the secret realm." "Hoo, it's a fun continent. I'm getting more excited. Star. Qin Yuan then looked at Jian Yishue. She kept looking at him and occasionally knitting her brows, seemingly realizing he was secretly communicating with the goddess of darkness. "What's the matter, miss? Never seen two adults talk?" Qin Yuan asked. "Dirty," Jian Yishue replied before turning her gaze elsewhere. It seems that the doubts in her heart have disappeared, Qin Yuan thought. Peaceful Sky Continent. Today, the calm of the continent was slightly disturbed by the sudden earthquake. Perhaps earthquakes were common in the divine world because the power of the living beings here could easily submerge thousands of continents. However, for the peaceful Sky Continent where even the juniors' fights were almost non-existent, the earthquake was naturally shocking. In her garden, the Sky Butterfly Queen had just finished bathing in the golden water. Her hair was even still wet when she felt the quake. "Your Majesty the Queen, bad, it's open again." A woman looking to be in her 30s appeared in front of her. The Sky Butterfly Queen glanced at her but didn't respond. She stared down, her eyes flashing light as they pierced the ground. But who would have guessed that deep beneath the peaceful Sky Continent, there existed such a vast independent space? Above, there was a portal to enter it, but below, there were various layers of formations. Boundless spiritual energy came from outside and flowed into the formations, making them radiate various colors at all times. Beneath those formations, there was something that looked like a starless night sky, giving off a feeling as if it was the end of the world. However, if you look carefully, you will find a small gap where there is a faint light radiating out. At this moment, the Sky Butterfly Queen appeared in front of the gap with the woman. She stretched her hand forward and it sank into the gap. "The power on the other side is getting stronger, what we are doing here is almost useless anymore," she said in a low voice, making the expression of the woman behind her turn a bit gloomy. "Your Majesty, I think it's time for us to move the portal from here, we should ask others for help," said the woman. The Sky Butterfly Queen didn't answer, but she nodded slightly. Quietly she said, "I hope he can put it off for a while." Qin Yuan returned to his palace, sitting on his throne while thinking about his plans for the future. He had not only thought about the plan to hunt down the seven-path Great Emperor, but also his cultivation plan, such as how he would obtain the other fragments. I have to send a message to Yen Zhaoge, he thought. He wrote a letter, put it in an envelope and secretly put the letter into one of the merchants who was going to the Thousand-Flame Empire. As long as the merchant arrived there, Yen Zhaoge would definitely notice it. In the letter, he only told Yen Zhaoge to come to the Dawn continent during the opening of the secret realm. Qin Yuan then checked his space artifact. His daughter and disciple were still in there, recuperating from the side effects of invincible mode. But now they seem to have recovered, which is pretty fast. According to Qin Yuan's estimation, it was because of their new divinity that helped restore their bodies that fast. Whoosh! Whoosh! He took them out from within the space artifact. Upon arriving outside, their auras instantly radiated, spreading into the distance until people throughout the star territory could feel their auras. How are you feeling? Qin Yuan asked when he saw their figures, which seemed to be twice as beautiful. The sensation of breakthrough is always intoxicating, and it is for the best, perhaps because it has been a long time since I felt it, Yishui replied. We will have less rivals, I hate to admit it, but I feel safer, Qin Wuxin added. Qin Yuan laughed softly. If only looking at the eastern domain, their rivals were probably less than 10, including Qian Suyun and Su Mei. This is something worth celebrating, said Qin Yuan as he stared at the palace entrance. The elders began to arrive, each one looking happy. Hoo, the two little girls back then have now reached this level, I can't help but worry, I hope you girls don't bully me. Su Mei in a long red dress appeared from one of the hallways. She stared back and forth between Qin Wuxin and Yishui. Although she was smiling, her smile seemed to be hiding something else a bit. The two women looked at Su Mei. Yishui didn't show much expression, but Qin Wuxin looked at her with sharp eyes. Hey, what's with that gaze? Su Mei spoke in a hurry. She walked briskly towards Qin Yuan, stood on the side of his throne and grabbed his hand. Look at your daughter, my husband, she seems to want to attack me, she said with pouting lips. Wuxin, please calm down. Qin Yuan raised his hand. He could feel his daughter's aura starting to become ferocious. Luckily she still followed his words. You better be careful, I might not kill you, but I could cut your tail off, she said before turning her gaze the other way, leaving Su Mei with a sullen expression. She looked around, seemed to be looking for someone but couldn't find the person in the end. Qin Yuan knew that she was looking for Qian Suyun, probably wanted to ask her for help with this matter. Chapter 87 Another Realm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The whole city finally partied, celebrating Qin Wuxin and Yixian's success. With their addition, it meant that they had 5 ninth-stage cultivators. That's a very large number. Firstly, not all peak factions had 9th-stage cultivators, even though they were led by 10th-stage cultivators. And those who possessed it usually only had 1 or 2, so one could imagine how valuable a 9th-stage cultivator would be. The Immortal Star clan itself wouldn't have had one if it weren't for Qin Yuan marrying Su Mei. Qin Yuan didn't really follow the party, he spent most of his time relaxing. When the party was over, he looked to the east as he felt 2 auras. There, he found 2 winged middle-aged women flying at high speed to his continent. Sky Butterfly clan members, why are they here? Is it time their queen needs my help? If it was based on his guess about the Sky Butterfly Queen, then the things she needed his help with might be related to her origins. Is it going to be like that? Qin Yuan wondered as he guessed one thing. Phew, looks like the divine world won't be calm for some time to come. He waved his hand, opening a portal for the 2 women. When they entered, they appeared directly in front of him. After being shocked for a moment, they cupped their fists at him. Greetings, Eternal Star Venerable, they said in unison. Qin Yuan didn't mince words, he directly asked them. So what does your queen want to say? The queen wants you to come to the peaceful sky continent so you can see things for yourself, Your Excellency, one of them replied. She added, she also hopes you can bring in a few extra people to help. Oh. Qin Yuan became even more interested. He then stood up. Alright, let's go. Silently, he called out to Qin Wuxin and Yi Shui, who immediately appeared by his side. They looked confused and wondering when they saw the two middle-aged women. We're going to the peaceful sky continent, Qin Yuan said without elaborating, as he himself didn't know what he was going to do either. After that, they immediately flew to the east, penetrating the space-time directly to save time. Peaceful sky continent. When Qin Yuan and the others arrived there, they found the atmosphere somewhat different. It was calm, but also gave off a feeling of tension. Since they didn't come with the intention of taking a walk, they went straight to the city in the center of the continent. They did not show themselves and went straight into the palace. Qin Yuan had often heard that the palace was supposed to be deserted, but today there were dozens of people with fairly strong cultivations. They were pacing, looking like they were doing something. Right at the palace entrance, Qin Yuan finally saw the Sky Butterfly Queen, standing with an expression waiting for someone. She was usually gentle and calm, but today, Qin Yuan felt like she was being very serious. She occasionally knit her brows to the point where her eyes became sharp. As for the appearance, she was still the same as the last time Qin Yuan saw her, hair in a slightly messy bun and wearing a long dress that didn't hide her curves. Queen, we meet again. Qin Yuan was the first to say hello. Even though she looked serious, she still smiled faintly when she saw him. Eternal Star, sorry to bother you, but I really need your help right now, she said. Don't hesitate, as I said, I will definitely help you, Qin Yuan replied. When he said that, he suddenly felt his daughter's gaze, and it was quite sharp. He glanced at her and found she had already turned her gaze in another direction. In his heart he wondered how to deal with this daughter. She seemed to be very closed-minded, not liking to see him with other women, even Su Mei, who was already his wife before she was even born. The Sky Butterfly Queen finally looked at Qin Wuxin and Yi Shui. It's our first time meeting in person, but congratulations on breaking through to the 9th stage. You guys are still very young, I'm sure you will still achieve a lot of new things in the future. Thank you, Yi Shui replied in a low voice, while Qin Wuxin remained silent, causing several members of the Sky Butterfly clan to knit their brows, as it was clearly impolite. Maybe if Qin Wuxin didn't know Qin Yuan's true strength, she wouldn't behave like that either. Qin Yuan finally gave her a look of rebuke before continuing to chat with the Sky Butterfly Queen. So, Queen, what help do you need? He asked. Please follow me, replied the Queen. While saying that, she stretched her hand forward. With a single movement of her finger, space tore apart, creating a spatial gap. She then stepped into it. Qin Yuan observed for a while before following her, followed by his daughter and disciple. They appeared in an independent space filled with layers of that formation. Seeing the place, Qin Yuan and the other two knitted their brows. Qin Yuan could immediately deduce that the formations were used to conceal something so that its existence would not be leaked out. Here, the Sky Butterfly Queen said again before stepping down, appearing directly in front of the small gap. The woman who looked to be in her 30s, Xia Lan, was still there. This is. Qin Yuan's expression changed drastically when he saw the small gap. Vaguely, he felt an extremely long spatial tunnel within the small gap. Even the spatial tunnel from the divine world to the divine continent seemed to be very short compared to the spatial tunnel within the gap. Qin Wuxin and Yi Shui looked at each other before looking at the Sky Butterfly Queen with furrowed brows. If there wasn't Qin Yuan and if the Sky Butterfly Queen wasn't so strong, they might have interrogated her straight away. Qin Yuan was calmer. He asked, Queen, what's on the other side? Another realm, she replied calmly. Surprisingly enough, that Whe didn't think before answering. Above her index finger, appeared her spiritual energy. She pointed it at Qin Yuan and said, everything about other realms is here. That spiritual energy then flew into Qin Yuan's head. Qin Yuan let it enter his head. It contained a lot of information which he immediately digested. Even the ones he wanted to know, like the location of the divine continent, were explained there. The universe is so vast, no one knows how vast it is. Within the universe, there are many realms which are far apart from each other. Traveling from one realm to another was something that took a very long time and was dangerous. Not many would do it except using spatial tunnels. Moreover, the spiritual energy in the universe was also extremely chaotic. Absorbing it was no easy feat. The divine world and the countless galaxies that surround it are actually in one of the many realms in the universe. As for the divine continent, it was beyond the realm. In other words, the space beyond the sky of the divine continent was the space of the universe itself. And that was why the spiritual energy on the divine continent was so chaotic, because it came from the universe itself. Every realm in the universe actually had things like the divine continent where divinity appeared. To Qin Yuan's surprise, the difference between realms was actually quite significant. The divine world was extremely powerful. Most realms actually didn't even have a 10th stage cultivator. The Sky Butterfly Queen was from one of the other realms, called the Wind Realm. It was considered quite strong as it had 4 10th stage cultivators before she left. Unfortunately, her realm had been conquered by another, more powerful realm, the Red Cave Realm. And now, it was planning to invade the Divine World Realm. That small gap was a spatial tunnel created by the Red Cave Realm to invade the Divine World, something that the Sky Butterfly Queen actually opened, which was why she was able to arrive at the Divine World. However, when she arrived in the Divine World, she chose to close the spatial tunnel and stay there. It could be said that she ran away. Of course, what she did was nothing more than delay. Something like the spatial tunnel between realms was a grand formation. It used the spiritual energy of its original realm as an energy source. Destroying it was something that was extremely difficult even for an epic giant. In the universe, invading each other like this was quite common. It is said that there is even a way to keep an epic for longer by invading other realms. So that's how the universe is. Qin Yuan sighed after knowing all that. There were so many realms in the universe and they were all equally struggling to survive from something called heaven, and that was something they knew nothing about. He couldn't help but wonder where the Earth was the Earth and the so-called observable universe also one of those realms? So, what are we going to do to this portal? Qin Yuan asked the Sky Butterfly Queen. Chapter 88 Sun Guy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Sky Butterfly Queen sighed and replied, this portal can't be closed anymore, but things aren't that bad as it will still take some time before top-tier cultivators can arrive. They need to stabilize the state of the portal first, or some spatial crack will cause them to be flung out, falling in some random place in the universe. So people at our level can't pass. Yes, the maximum Saint Ancestor 1st stage to 3rd stage. Their number can't be too much either, only below them are completely safe. They will be tasked with stabilizing the spatial tunnel conditions of this portal. Actually, if we can continue to harass them, there is still a chance of us thwarting their plans. But yeah, since it's dangerous for top-tier cultivators, the conditions are the same for the divine world. We can also only send low-rank Saint Ancestors and below. Now that I seem to be able to guess what you want to move this portal from here, right? Qin Yuan said after some observation. The Sky Butterfly Queen nodded lightly in response. It's tied to the foundation of my clan. The effect when the portal opens can destroy it. Earlier I thought I would only sacrifice the foundations of my clan, but I felt there was a chance after seeing your technique. Of course, I'm not asking for help for free. After that, I'll give you some rare treasures. The way the Sky Butterfly Queen spoke seemed rushed. She seemed really worried that he wouldn't help. Qin Yuan smiled wryly. Even a Sky Butterfly Queen who seemed always dignified could panic in a situation like this. You worry too much, Queen, Qin Yuan replied. As I said, I will naturally help you. His first words made the queen pursed her lips. But before that, I want to go in first and have a look, Qin Yuan said again. Are you sure? It's quite dangerous. At that time, I was able to arrive here because of using a very rare treasure with great power as support. Don't worry, even if I get thrown out of that spatial tunnel, I can still come back. One thing that Qin Yuan really didn't worry about in this world was being thrown into any random place. No matter where it was, he could still return by relying on the hidden heaven. The Sky Butterfly Queen, who knew that he had many extraordinary aces, finally said nothing more. She just said, I will accompany you. At the same time, Qin Wuxin said, Father, we are also coming. Qin Yuan nodded. Come on. The Sky Butterfly Queen was the first to take a step into the gap, followed by Qin Yuan and the others, leaving Xia Lan alone there. Qin Yuan felt a different sensation as soon as he entered the gap. In front of him, he saw a spatial tunnel. It was so vast and long, it even formed its own sky, and many continents floated at various points. In addition, various unique treasures, plants, and beasts appeared in various places on the continents. It's hardly different from a world except that it has the shape of a tunnel, Qin Yuan thought. By the way, with our strength, how long will it take to arrive at the other side roughly? He asked the Sky Butterfly Queen. If it was just a spatial tunnel to the divine continent, a few minutes would be enough for Qin Yuan, but the one here he was also unsure. Maybe 3 hours if based on my speed. This is almost as long as the divine world itself, the Sky Butterfly Queen replied. She was the fastest of all peak cultivators. Qin Yuan estimated that the others might need 5 more hours. But yeah, that can only be done when the spatial tunnel is completely stabilized. Oh, these are. Qin Yuan suddenly saw several small gaps appear around him. From within those gaps, a chaotic aura radiated, similar to the aura on the divine continent. It's still pretty safe here. The further we go and the more power we release, the bigger the gaps will be, said the Sky Butterfly Queen. I see. Qin Yuan then activated his heavenly eyes, looking far ahead. The surrounding continents were uninhabited, but as he got further away, he finally saw populated continents with sizable cities. Most of the inhabitants of those continents were young people. They consisted of various types of races that did not exist in the divine world. Qin Yuan wasn't sure how to describe them because he didn't know all the races in the divine world either. Overall, most of them still have a human form with some uniqueness such as horns, wings, and the like. On those continents, they didn't just wander around randomly. They do things like activate certain formations. So if we send the younger generation, what they have to do is destroy those formations. However, I don't think we need to destroy everything, Qin Yuan said, making the Sky Butterfly Queen look at him with a deep gaze. It wasn't hard to guess what his words meant. Basically, if they invade us, shouldn't we be able to invade them too? Queen, how strong is the other side? Qin Yuan asked. I'm not sure how many 10th stage cultivators are in the Red Cave realm since I haven't had much interaction with them either, but there are some existences that are more powerful. That's why they were able to invade other realms. Plus my wind realm, they've probably conquered more than 50 other realms, the Queen replied. Sounds very scary, said Qin Yuan. What about the 7-path Great Emperor, do you know anything about him? The Sky Butterfly Queen looked surprised at the question. But she shook her head in response. I really don't know who he is, he's not from my world, she replied. If he's a completely different party, then the divine world really gets into far more trouble, Qin Yuan thought. Wait, it's quite strange that he hasn't opened the portal until now. Qin Yuan was unsure and didn't think much of it because he didn't know anything about him. First, I will send the entrance of the hidden heaven in my hand so that later I can watch or go directly to the other side. By the way, I want to advance further, the 3 of you wait here, Qin Yuan said. His expression was quite firm, so his daughter just kept quiet even though she looked like she still wanted to come along. Qin Yuan then took a step forward. He didn't use too much strength, but even like that, the gaps around him still got bigger. Absolutely dangerous. He couldn't help but say that. In fact, he could even sense the danger. His instincts told him to back off immediately. But he still didn't back down. His plan was to advance as far as possible, then enter the entrance of the hidden heaven in his hands. Then, he would exit through another entrance and leave the entrance he entered in that spatial tunnel. Using his little control over that entrance, he would keep sending it until it arrived at the other side. He also planned to kidnap several people in this spatial tunnel for research. Time passed quietly. The Sky Butterfly Queen, Qin Wuxin, and Yi Shui were still standing where they were, watching Qin Yuan getting further and further away with their heavenly eyes. 5 days later. On one of the continents in that spatial tunnel, a young man was relaxing in a city park, surrounded by two beautiful young women who leaned on his left and right. They seemed to be his concubines. This young man is quite unique. In addition to his handsome face, there were 10 small suns surrounding his body. Each one awe-inspiring with an incomparable aura. Of course, they weren't divinities, but if one looked closely, they gave off a feeling as if they were divinities. Young master, your contribution today was truly extraordinary. I'm sure Princess Scarlet will give you a great gift, said one of the women, pressing her breasts against the young man's back. The youth, Sun Gai, nodded in satisfaction, patting the woman's buttocks in response. There are many rivals, but over time, we can see who stands out the most, he said. He then looked up at the sky and continued, there will be a day where I stand above all geniuses that Princess Scarlet will only stare at me. Ha ha ha, young master, I trust you. Every night, I pray that in the future you can marry Princess Scarlet, said the other woman. Sun Gai couldn't help but smile at that. Isn't that because you wanted to be her sister, he replied, making her smile shyly. She was Sun Gai's concubine, so if he were to marry the Scarlet Princess, she would practically become an adopted sister with her, having the qualifications to call her a sister. That's an infinite honor. Sun Gai's hands began to move wildly on the beautiful bodies of the two women. His face even moved down to one of the bodies. But suddenly, one of the women widened her eyes. Young master, see that? She pointed to the sky. What? Sun Gai stopped his movements and turned his gaze to the sky. Immediately after that his eyes and mouth opened wide. Oh my God, where did this mighty creature come from? He said. Not only him, everyone on many continents showed the same expression. It was because they saw a manifestation of an enormous, gigantic creature. The sky was blocked because of the creature's presence. Rumble. Suddenly the creature extended his hand towards one of the continents. It was the continent where Sun Gai was. Chapter 89 Return. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lord, who are you? A majestic voice resounded before a quite terrifying aura exploded from the continent. A thin and bald old man stepped into the air. But in contrast to his extraordinary aura and majestic voice, his expression was both worried and fearful. His body even started to freeze as the hand got closer to him, and finally, he couldn't move, so his face turned deathly pale. Peek, he said absent-mindedly with wide eyes. Bang! The palm of the hand slammed into him, sending him falling onto the continent. When the palm arrived over the continent, people finally realized that the continent was only a grape seed compared to the palm. It easily grabbed the continent. My story is over, said Sun Gai in a trembling voice. His body was covered in sweat, even the 10 suns surrounding him were extinguished, something that had never happened before. Right after that, the people of the other continents discovered the giant creature had disappeared. At this moment, Qin Yuan appeared in the hidden heaven. He looked at his hands before staring ahead. Through the entrance of the hidden heaven, he was able to see outside. When he showed himself, he could faintly feel several gazes from a distance. You seem to have just done something. Hey Ho suddenly spoke. Qin Yuan only glanced down but gave no response at all. After that, he exited using another entrance. He returned to the divine world. Looking at the surrounding scenery, he sighed in amazement. Hidden heaven is truly amazing, the other heavenly treasures must be just as amazing, he said before stepping onto the peaceful sky continent. When he returned to the independent space where the portal was, Xia Lan, who was standing in front of the portal, couldn't help but be surprised when she saw him suddenly appear. Qin Yuan didn't say anything, he went straight into the gap. The Sky Butterfly Queen was also surprised. How did you get here all of a sudden? She asked. No matter how she thought about it, she couldn't find an answer. Even with the laws of space, there was no way he would be able to exit the spatial tunnel without passing through the tunnel because there is no other path. Do you want to know? Qin Yuan asked back with a faint smile. The queen was probably worried that she would say the wrong words, so she ended up just keeping quiet. There is no doubt that their relationship is already starting to develop, it might be fine to show it once in a while. Unfortunately, the existence of Qin Wuxin and Yi Shui made it difficult. In fact, they have already started to knit their brows. Qin Yuan finally looked ahead as he saw the Sky Butterfly Queen just standing still. Silently, he began to control the entrance in front to the other side. It's quite slow, but it doesn't matter, I'm not in a hurry either, Qin Yuan thought as he found the entrance moving like a walk. In the end, he could only control its general direction, unable to control it as he pleased. Let's go back, he said. The others nodded. They then entered the gap behind them, returning to that independent space. Shall we start now? The Sky Butterfly Queen asked. Qin Yuan didn't answer right away, he surveyed the gap in front of him. It only opened slightly, but when it was fully open, there might be no problem with 10,000 people logging in at the same time. There is still some time before this portal opens completely, Queen, I don't think we need to rush, Qin Yuan replied. The Queen furrowed her brows upon hearing his words. Qin Yuan bragged quite a lot, but he knew even for him, it wasn't easy at all. One of the things he needed was a weapon to increase the intensity of his power. Unfortunately, now that he didn't have a good weapon, he was only planning on making one weapon from the materials he had obtained from the Heavenly Palace. When the Queen asked, "You must know about the secret realm, right?" "Let's do it after that," Qin Yuan replied. After a moment of silence, the Queen finally nodded. "I'll throw a big party for you when this is over," she said. Qin Yuan's expression became strange when he heard that because he felt there was an ulterior motive. While her expression was quite calm, her eyes looked straight into his as she said that. "The younger generations of my clan need some combat experience, so I might as well go there," she added. "Then we can meet again later," Qin Yuan replied with a faint smile. "Alright, we'll be back first. Please." The Sky Butterfly Queen escorted Qin Yuan and the others to the palace grounds. After they disappeared, Xia Lan, who continued to follow her, couldn't help but speak. She looked like she'd been holding it in for a long time. "Your Majesty, Eternal Star Ancestor and Y.U.R." The Sky Butterfly Queen looked at her in response and her eyes were quite sharp. "Don't think about anything that doesn't make sense," she said. Her gaze intimidated Xia Lan, she finally closed her mouth and lowered her head. Qin Yuan, who was being followed by his disciple and daughter, also felt uncomfortable because of their gazes on his back. After quite a distance from the peaceful sky continent, he finally looked back. "Is there something?" he asked. Qin Wuxin's lips moved and almost opened, but in the end she closed them again. Maybe she realized talking about the topic would make her look too childish. Yi Shui, who was beside her, finally spoke. "Master, I still have a lot of confusion about the portal," she said. Obviously she and Qin Wuxin didn't fully understand because the Sky Butterfly Queen transferred information to Qin Yuan's head directly. "You will understand after receiving this." Qin Yuan then sent the information to Yi Shui's head, then Qin Wuxin. Information about the universe, even he was very surprised, not to mention them. So there are so many realms, Ishwe said. But surprisingly enough, most realms apparently don't have even a single 10th stage cultivator. Wouldn't that mean we would be at the peak if we were in those realms? This is probably similar to the lower realms of our world where there are strong and weak worlds, Qin Yuan replied. Chapter 90 about the Red Cave Realm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The continent that Qin Yuan had taken was inside a space artifact that had its own sun, moon, and stars. The atmosphere on the continent couldn't calm down until now. All of its tens of millions of residents were gathering in the vast courtyard. Each discuss with their own group. That creature is a peak cultivator, an invincible existence. I am afraid that no one can save us. Yeah, even if we conquer that world, we still can't be saved. That creature can kill us all with just a thought. The seniors concluded that, causing the younger ones to no longer be able to entertain themselves. In a certain place, gathered young people who looked extraordinary. Sun Guy clearly had the highest status there. Even the bald old man was standing behind him even though he was a saint ancestor. Unfortunately, even though Sun Guy was the center of attention, he was also unable to come up with any solutions. He was even more panicked than the others. Because of his background, he understood their situation better than anyone else. Young master. The bald old man called out to him as he was silent. However, Sun Guy remained silent as if he had not heard him at all. At this time, the sun's rays suddenly dim, much like during an eclipse. When the people of the continent looked up at the sky, they saw a giant shadow. He's coming, they said in trembling voices, which was enough to cause an earthquake. The shadow approached but it suddenly became smaller before turning into a man looking in his 30s. Even when he suppressed his aura, his existence still intimidated everyone on the continent. Qin Yuan continued to draw closer to the continent. He looked at the people of the continent one by one before finally falling on Sun Guy. His talent caught his attention. Those suns seem to be manifestations of divinities, he thought. In the divine world, the children of the great emperor do not have such things. Whoosh! He finally appeared in front of the youth, who subconsciously took a step back. The two concubines by his side even fell to the ground. Why are you acting like I'm going to eat you? Qin Yuan said with a faint smile. One could even say he came with hospitality, but his hospitality seemed to be even more terrifying in the eyes of the people of the continent. Many fell even though they were quite far from him. Why, Your Excellency, please calm down. We are just minor characters, said Sun Guy. It seemed that he really felt Qin Yuan was going to eat him. Qin Yuan shook his head. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Looks like the genius on the other side is soft-legged, he said and then turned his gaze to the bald old man. Although he was also panicked to the point that his legs were shaking, he seemed calmer. Which realm are you from? Qin Yuan asked. The Red Cave Realm conquered too many other realms. Qin Yuan couldn't be sure they were also from the Red Cave Realm. I am from the Silver Water Realm, Your Excellency, the old man replied. And this young master is the grandson of the Great Sun Emperor, one of the great emperors of the Red Cave Realm. He glanced at Sun Guy who had turned deathly pale as his identity was revealed. He looked at the old man with glaring eyes. Just a grandson. Qin Yuan held his chin as he looked at Sun Guy. He wasn't even the son of a great emperor but had the manifestations of divinities. Now it can be concluded that in the Red Cave Realm, cultivation is more advanced, at least at the level of the younger generation. Qin Yuan was satisfied that the old man answered his question. He seemed to know the bad and the good. Qin Yuan then took out a chair and sat down. There were quite a few things she wanted to ask, something the Sky Butterfly Queen didn't know. What's your name? He asked. My name is Bai Tao, Your Excellency, the old man replied. All right Bai Tao, I'm sure you know a lot about the Red Cave Realm, tell me things like the top factions there, he said. Hearing that question, Bai Tao showed a doubtful expression. He looked around at the youths who seemed to have strong backgrounds. His behavior was completely out of place because he was the oldest and strongest. Saying Sun Gai's background might still be fine, but saying everything about the Red Cave realm was definitely different. Unfortunately, Qin Yuan's gaze worried him even more. His mouth trembled and it wasn't long before he finally spoke. "Why, Your Excellency, what I know is only public matters, so my explanation is also limited," he said. Qin Yuan nodded, indicating that he did not mind. Taking a deep breath, Bai Tao started to speak. No one dared to interrupt because of Qin Yuan, who listened carefully to Bai Tao's words. "So that's what the Red Cave realm is like." After a while, Qin Yuan held his chin with one hand while his other hand tapped on the side barrier of the chair. The number of 10th stage cultivators in the Red Cave realm was actually not that much different from the divine world. Merely, most of them were more united, so it was not surprising that there were sects with 2 or 3 10th stage cultivators. Even more extraordinary were the Scarlet Divine Empire and the Primordial Spirit Clan, each of them having 7 10th stage cultivators. Half of the 10th stage cultivators of the Red Cave realm were from them. Of course, what was even scarier was the rumor that there were beyond imagination existences behind each of them. And even among the 10th stage cultivators there was some difference in strength. Qin Yuan estimated it was like the difference in his strength with other peak cultivators in the divine world. But Wu, if there's a war between us and them, then it's really very devastating.